away and you'll miss it. Out of nowhere, too quick to react.
No! Are you kidding me?
Without warning, speedboat passengers are thrown with tremendous force.
I really thought the boat was going to flip. I'm going to fly out of this boat at, way too fast of speeds.
In a flash, lightning strikes. And fireworks detonate. But not like they're supposed to.
This was like a nuclear bomb went off.
A politician stares down the barrel of a gun.
He suddenly jumped up and then he pulled the trigger.
And a real deer-in-headlights moment.
There's a minute of panic, everything tightens up, you're just waiting for the hit.
Caught on camera, don't blink. A day of fun on a boat turns to agony in an instant as passengers are violently thrown with incredible force. August 24th, 2012. Thousands of people have descended on Missouri's Lake of the Ozarks, a summertime playground for the Midwest with more shoreline than California's Pacific coast. One of the lake's main attractions, the annual Poker Run. The event is covered from all angles by local television station Lake TV and its co-owner, Sean Kober.
The Poker Run started as a fundraiser for local charities. Basically, you show up at the restaurant, you sign in, and then you go to 6 different stops. And at those stops, you'll get a card, and at the end of the day, the best hand wins. It really is a highlight of what the lake is all about, getting out in the water and just enjoying all of the restaurants and the establishments that are on the water.
Lake TV cameraman and co-owner Brett Tintera is tasked with shooting video on board the contestants' boats. On his last run of the day, he positions his camera on a boat carrying a group of 6 other people.
It was a beautiful, beautiful, warm summer day. The event was actually wrapping up. It was the end of the day. Everybody was in good spirits. We rode in about 15 different boats that day, and when I get in the boat, I mount this camera on the dashboard. And this allows me to sit down safely and ride in the boat while we're still filming all the action. I mounted this on the dash, made sure I got a shot of everybody.
And powerboat begins its journey to the last stop of the day. As the driver picks up speed, the passengers tighten their grips.
As the boat was going along about half throttle, at one point the captain took it to full throttle. And at that point I said, if we're going to go this fast, I'm going to take my seat and hang on because it didn't feel safe at all.
While the driver may have been obeying the 70-mile-per-hour speed limit set for that event, Water Patrol requires boats to slow down if the wake conditions call for it.
It's not that uncommon to go fast on the water. It's just not that common to do it in really rough water like it was that particular Friday.
The boat is smashing down on the wakes more and more frequently, and the people on board begin to look distressed.
We had come up to about 4 or 5 rollers, what they call them. They're wakes from another boat. I'd never been in a boat that slapped down that hard, so I remember thinking, this is not good.
The boat impacts with more rough waters, and suddenly the force is massive.
I really thought the boat was going to flip, so I hung on as tight as I could, and I remember kind of closing my eyes thinking, I'm going to fly out of this boat at, way too fast of speeds. And at that moment, all I remember thinking was, I'm 30 years old, 30 years on Earth, and this is what it comes down to. Today's the day. I literally thought, yeah, I would definitely die.
The back end of the boat slams down into the water, preventing it from rolling, but it exerts a brutal force on the passengers.
They basically spun out. It was very violent. Everybody in the boat went to the one side. The driver was immediately flung to the ground, and the female in the center, it was kind of as if her feet were almost tied down, but her face and body rode the dash pretty violently.
I believe the woman on the left bent the throttles over sideways with her leg from the impact. It is quite scary the way the captain falls to the ground because it almost looks fake. But just from the first hit, it looks like he goes to the ground because he's not able to brace himself and hold on to anything. And then you see how much force was involved at those kind of speeds. You've seen everybody fly from one side of the boat and back again to the other and back again. It almost looks like rag dolls.
It's all over in seconds. As the boat slows to a stop, stunned passengers try to regain their bearings.
And then I remember kind of setting up, being in shock, wondering where all the water had come from, and just very dazed and confused along with everybody else. And then everybody kind of started to come to and kind of point at each other, hey, you're hurting here, you're bleeding here, and we could all kind of see each other's wounds unfold in front of us, which was quite horrifying.
We need help! We need help! Call for help! Call for help!
A couple of us had yelled to a nearby boat, call for help.
Everyone on board is taken to the hospital and treated for their injuries, and there are many.
There were shattered eye sockets. There was one individual with broken hips and pelvis, broken legs, broken foot. I broke my wrist, I broke my leg, I ruptured a disc in my back, I cracked some ribs. Yeah, this is actually a scar from my head pounding on the boat.
Water Patrol cites the driver of the boat for failing to operate a motorboat in a careful and prudent manner, and allowing a passenger to ride on the rear deck without adequate railing. He's ordered to pay a fine. Despite the disturbing images from the accident, those involved with the event insist that safety is always the #1 priority.
When you figure how many people come to the lake, it's a very small percentage that end up like that. It's a very safe place. There's boating accidents all over the place, but no one's really seen one on film, and you don't really think about it until you see it.
In a split second, a politician comes face to face with a gunman.
I was completely shocked. He suddenly jumped up 3 steps to the podium and had a gun in his hand.
Germany's Human Rights Commissioner Markus Loning travels the world to help shape his country's foreign policy. And on January 19, 2013, Loning is in Sofia, Bulgaria, attending a meeting for a political party called the Movement for Rights and Freedoms. The party represents the country's ethnic Turks and Muslim minority.
There are supposed to be elections around summer in Bulgaria, so it was very important to have this meeting, to be present in national media. It was an event that had big national importance. They are one of the opposition parties in parliament, and they hope to be part of the government.
The headline speaker of the event is Ahmet Dogan, the party chairman for nearly a quarter of a century and one of Bulgaria's most influential political figures. He takes the podium for the live televised event where he's expected to announce his retirement and propose his replacement.
Mr. Dogan came to give his speech. I was sitting actually right in front of the place where Mr. Dogan was speaking. I was sitting in the second row.
Dogan is giving his speech when, unexpectedly, an unknown person dressed in black approaches the stage.
I saw this young man walking up to him, and I thought, okay, this is probably a technician that has some work to do at the podium. Maybe one of the microphones doesn't work.
Nothing seems out of the ordinary until the man pulls out a weapon and points it directly in the politician's face.
The audience was frozen for a moment when he was pulling out the gun, pointing it at the head, and then he pulled the trigger once, and luckily there was no shot.
It all happens in a flash. television cameras captured Dogan staring into the barrel of the gun.
Then Mr. Dogan reacted. He sort of pushed the gun away, and I thought it was great. Mr. Dogan is obviously not that young, but he still pushed him away, and then he fell over. And I got a fright because I thought, oh my God, maybe there was a knife involved or something I didn't hear or I didn't see.
Panic grips the audience.
There was a moment of fright, of shock. And then I got up and I felt I was trembling inside because, you know, this was nearly a murder happening just in front of me. The security people were not where they should have been. Normally they should have been in front of the podium, but they were obviously at the side somewhere.
Audience members rushed the stage to protect Dogan, while others tackled the suspect to the ground.
You could see that this guy was obviously a strong guy or a well-trained guy, because even several guys had difficulties to push him to the ground. And then some of these guys started beating on him. One was beating with his fist, another one was kicking at him. This was in a very heated political, emotional situation in this country. People felt that this was an attack against everyone in this room, and the fear on their faces, because none of them in that moment knew what would be the next thing. Who sent this guy? Was it supposed to be the kickoff for something?
The suspect is subdued. His face is bloody from the beating.
One of the major party members showed up on stage and said, "Cool it, you know, don't hurt this man." I don't have any sympathy with him, but, you know, he has also a right to be arrested. He shouldn't be kicked or abused in that way. But the reaction was highly unprofessional.
The attacker is taken to the hospital for his injuries. Dogan escapes unscathed despite his fall.
He was leaving the place. Just by seeing his face, you could see that he was really under shock.
The suspect is identified by police as 25-year-old Oktay Nememidov, a member of a small group called I Hate Dogan. Police discover that the suspect is armed with 2 knives and that he had actually not used a gun in the attack, but a gas pistol. It's typically a non-lethal weapon designed to fire tear gas cartridges, but can cause fatal injuries when fired from close range.
At this distance, you can see a lot, but you obviously don't see the details of a gun. So to me, it looked like a real gun, and everybody took it for a real gun in that moment.
The Bulgarian National Security Service admits that security at the event had been insufficient and fires 2 officers and disciplines 6 others. An investigation into the beating of the suspect is underway. Nememidov is charged with attempted murder and violating public order. He has not yet entered a plea, but stated in a court hearing that he did not intend to kill Dogan, but rather to threaten him. Still, he says his only regret is that his pistol misfired.
I believe it's a very important moment to make very clear that violence is something that is absolutely unacceptable in European politics. These kind of attacks are not something that is anywhere in daily life, and as long as I'm a politician, I have never seen anything like that.
Coming up, fireworks gone wrong.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh!
And lightning hits frighteningly close to home.
It's like, boom! It was so instantaneous.
When caught on camera, Don't Blink continues. If you think all fireworks shows look alike, take a look at this. It's not quite the show these spectators thought they would see. July 4th, 2012. One of the largest annual fireworks displays in the country, the Big Bay Boom, is set to go off across multiple barges in the San Diego Bay. The event takes nearly a full year of planning by executive producer Sandy Purdon. He raises the $400,000 to fund the massive display of more than 7,000 fireworks. The night of the event, Purdon hosts a viewing party for his sponsors.
I was on my deck of my house entertaining the sponsors. About 15 minutes before the show starts, we start getting ready to watch the show. I do a last-minute check with the Coast Guard and my patrol commander on the water, and then we sit back and wait for the show.
Down on the ground, freelance videographer Dan Roy finds a perfect spot to watch with friends, only a few hundred feet away from where the fireworks will be launched.
I had my camera out and I was all ready to go. And then once the thing started going off, I just swung around and hit record.
But it's not the planned start of the show. An unexpected, massive blast of fireworks erupts from the barges 5 minutes before the scheduled start time.
This was like a nuclear bomb went off.
You could feel the heat coming from the explosions. And it was very overwhelming. It got louder and brighter and more white, and it was like, pretty much daytime where we were standing.
What should be an 18-minute show explodes all at once.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
YouTube videos uploaded by spectators capture the incredible scene from around the bay.
It was just blinding white, and it was a deafening roar of sound.
So we can see all the barges from where we are. The whole thing exploded, but they were all synchronized. They all went off at the same time, so that part of the show worked.
Less than 30 seconds later, it's all over.
Obviously, I was shocked. And eyes were very wide and jaws were dropped, and then everybody sort of turned around and looked at me, and I tried to hide, but I had no place to go.
No way. That wasn't supposed to happen, was it? No way. No way.
Most of the nearly 500,000 people watching don't realize what has just happened.
This is insane. This is the best fireworks show ever.
Afterwards, everybody stood there not knowing what to do. I think it was when there was like a slight dusting of ash and bits of cardboard falling down on our heads that we realized maybe this is not exactly what was supposed to happen.
There was empathy for me because they know how long it takes for me to prepare for this every year.
The cause of the mishap? A technical glitch with the computer that triggers the fireworks, causing them to launch prematurely all at the same time.
The fireworks company, was pretty brave. They stepped forward and said they're going to make up for it. And they said, we're a company that's been around for 120 years. That's never happened before.
Despite the tremendous force of the explosions, no one is hurt, which Purdon attributes to his team's extensive safety protocols. While the show may have earned its nickname, the Big Bay Bust, many who were there to see it believe the spectacle is a once-in-a-lifetime sight.
This is the best fireworks show ever.
It was a lot of fun to watch. It still was like nothing you'd seen, so the spirit of it at the time we were watching is like, every fireworks show should be like this, yeah.
There were people that were disappointed, of course, because the kids were there and they wanted a 20-minute show and they wanted all the foo-foo fireworks that we set off. And so for those people, I obviously was very sorry about disappointing them. But this year we'll make up for it.
Sometimes when fireworks shows go awry, the result can be terrifying. October 13th, 2012. In the city of Hangzhou in eastern China, locals Chen Yuhua and her husband, Ji Binjie, have tickets to attend a fireworks spectacular organized by the government. The couple takes their assigned seats along the city's West Lake, where more than 500,000 people have gathered to watch the fireworks launch.
The fireworks were beautiful that day.
especially the shapes. We were so concentrated on the show.
Halfway through the show, G notices something unexpected.
2到3个烟花直接蹦向
2 or 3 pieces of fireworks came toward my left side, but we thought it was special effects.
But the stray fireworks are only the beginning. Chen is recording the show with her camera when, in a flash, the crowd is in danger. Instead of blasting into the air, fireworks are shooting into the crowd like bullets. The panicked spectators run for cover.
When I was filming, suddenly a piece of firework came straight to me, and the firework just landed beside my feet. Then I heard people scream.
People all ran. Some fell down, some got hurt by the fireworks, and their clothes were burned, and they bled. When the situation got worse, we had to escape.
It was so smoky. It made us choke. I covered my mouth like this and kept my body low, together with my husband.
The couple manages to escape, with Chen suffering only a minor burn to her hand. Others have much more serious injuries and rush to a nearby hospital for treatment. More than 150 people are injured by the fireworks. The cause of the malfunction is unclear, but the government compensates the victims for the injuries they suffered. Coming up, nature strikes in the blink of an eye.
No! Are you kidding me?
And with brutal force.
We just collided dead on.
When caught on camera, Don't Blink continues. Dark skies loom over drivers in Russia in this 2012 viral video. A camera's rolling inside a vehicle when, in the blink of an eye, a bolt of lightning strikes an SUV. Witnessing a lightning strike is rare enough. The odds are even slimmer of capturing it on camera. But head to Florida, the lightning capital of the United States, and that chance encounter becomes much more likely. October 5th, 2012. Avid storm fans and Naples, Florida residents Rita and Nick Krill are preparing to watch an afternoon soaker.
I looked out the windows and it was so dark, and he said, let's go check it out. So we came out onto the lanai, and it was just really windy. And I thought, oh, this is a neat storm. I've got to go grab my camera. Let me see if I can film this. Real rootin' tootin' little rainfall here. It's very awesome.
The skies were angry that day. We were watching this storm build and build and build. Rita was filming it and panning her camera back and forth and just really and taking the whole thing in.
It's just beautiful. Little lightning. I love it.
We can see that the storm that was building was stronger than what we frequently see around here. The rainfall was really good.
Winds are whipping and sheets of rain are pelting the enclosure. Rita tries to record all the action.
I was panning across the backyard, and as I was doing that, I could see in the background the trees were just really bending over from the wind. And I thought, okay, well, I'm going to pan back over there so that I can maybe catch this tree, you know, really bending. Watch this tree, it'll start getting real windy in just a second.
Rita doesn't know just how spot on her camera work is about to be. An explosion of thunder and lightning sends Rita scrambling for cover.
It's like, boom! I jumped in the house, my camera goes flailing around, and, you know, my mouth shouted out. It was so instantaneous that my body just felt like the bass of a woofer or something like that. It's not like anything else that I've ever really felt.
What you see on film is one thing. Try to multiply that about tenfold, you can get an idea what it felt like as a witness, something we weren't expecting.
Almost simultaneously, a ball of flames bursts up from where the lightning strikes down.
In my recollection of things, there were two events. One was a lightning strike, and the second was the fireball. They were probably separated by a time measure that I can't even comprehend.
It lit the whole screen of it. My next thought was, where's the dog?
There are some things in this world that would cause other dogs to skitter underneath the sofa. Marge just went on point and looked at it. She's an amazing little pooch.
Rita and Nick don't realize how close the lightning strike was to where they were just standing. They wait until the storm ends and then head out beyond their backyard in search of the site of impact.
And we couldn't find anything that had burned or charred.
We went back into the office and I looked over that film, standing at, and it pointed right to this beautiful tabby tree.
And my husband said, oh my gosh, it was way closer than we had imagined. And he said, look how obvious this is. It's right here.
So I walked out there and lo and behold, there it was. The bark was completely stripped off the front side of the beautiful little tabby. It was scattered in a halo all around the tree. Pretty amazing.
It looks like about maybe a 4 to 6 foot section of that tree that just, sliced down. And basically it killed the tree. And it took a long time to die off. I thought I was going to make it. Unfortunately, it didn't.
The tree's not the only thing damaged, as Rita and Nick discover when they come across the source of the fireball.
This tree had some ornamental lighting focused up into the tree, and the lightning had apparently skittered down the side of the tree and struck that fixture. It blew the fixture 4 or 5 feet away from where it was originally installed. It just went sailing through the air and landed over in the grass. And I had to search around to find it. And it just completely crisped all the wiring.
Not wanting to keep this once-in-a-lifetime sight to themselves, Rita decides to share her video online.
I just thought it would be a really great way for all of my friends to see, and just what a coincidence it was that it just happened to blow up, right behind that spot. I thought, oh my gosh, I have to put this on YouTube. What are the chances of catching a lightning strike,
Rita's audience expands quickly beyond just her friends. The video goes viral, garnering more than 3 million hits. Despite all the attention, she and her husband won't try to repeat their up-close and personal encounter with a lightning strike.
I have never seen a lightning strike this close to me. This experience has changed the way I view these things. I'm not quite as brave as I used to be.
I love it.
Rita, she's probably going to continue recording all these things, but maybe stand a little further inside the house when she does.
You're free. Go. Get on out.
When nature strikes, it strikes fast. In this 2013 YouTube video, a West Point cadet is seen releasing a mouse that has taken up residence in his room.
All right, buddy. Time to go. Get on out of here.
The cadet has gotten so used to having the pesky critter around, he affectionately calls it Whiskers.
Come on, Whiskers. You're free. Go. Get on out. Good luck.
How do you feel?
I feel relieved that he's not going to wake me up in my bed anymore. Crawling my leg, but kind of sad, I just got to know him.
It's a touching scene. Instead of killing the rodent, the Army cadet gives the mouse its freedom. But the sweet moment doesn't last long.
Oh, no. No! Are you kidding me?
Without warning, a large bird of prey swoops into view, and its sights are set on Whiskers.
No! Are you kidding me? He didn't last 5 minutes! I'm a terrible person!
The hawk and mouse take their rightful places in the food chain. As for the cadet, well, no good deed goes unpunished.
Oh my gosh, let's get out of here.
Coming up, wild encounters.
There's a minute of panic, and then you're just bracing for impact.
When you least expect them. When caught on camera, don't blink continues. Caught on camera viewers have seen many moments that would make anyone say, oh dear. Like this young girl and her brother leaving a Georgia convenience store when suddenly she's blindsided by a bounding deer. It happened so quickly, no one even knows what hit them.
What is it, a dog? And they're like, no, it's a deer.
In a nearby town, another confused deer strikes. This time, crashing full speed through the window of a restaurant. In a heartbeat, confounded customers go from sitting down to a relaxing meal to jumping up at their tables. And at this Pennsylvania beer store, a typical night turns wild in no time flat when unusual customers come slipping and sliding through the aisles. A deer inside a building is undoubtedly out of place, but even when a deer is in its right place, it can sometimes be at precisely the wrong moment. July 28, 2012. Motorcycle enthusiast Braden Childers is gearing up to compete in West Virginia's Rally Moto. Riders come from across the country to participate in a series of timed races.
Rally Moto in general is a pretty high-speed type of racing. The rally will close off a piece of road at each end of the road, 10 to 20 miles, sometimes longer, to where you've got nothing else on the road but racers. And you spread the racers out and you compete to see who can cover those sections the fastest.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Equipped with a helmet cam, Childers takes off in the final leg of the two-day competition. He's racing against the clock to the top of the mountain for the finish.
When I'm out racing, there's nothing else to think about besides staying on the bike, keeping it under control, going as fast as you can. The rest of the world just melts away, so it's intense, but it's peaceful too.
With less than a mile to go to the finish line, Childers' smooth ride is interrupted when something catches his eye.
I see a deer on the right side of the road, just standing there. It's not looking like it's going to jump out or anything, and I assume that I can get past it, so I just keep on throttling. What I didn't see was the one that was right behind that one.
As Childers gets closer, the second deer comes into focus, but it's already too late.
There's a minute of panic, and then you're just bracing for impact. Everything tightens up, and you're just waiting for the hit, because you just don't expect that. You don't know what it's going to feel like. We just collided dead on.
Childers and the more than 100-pound deer smash into each other. A nearby photographer captures the scene.
It's like getting tackled by a huge person running at you at 50 miles an hour. The smallest thing feels huge at that speed. You can actually see it try to jump over the front wheel and clear me, but it ended up coming right over the handlebars, knocking the handlebars back and hitting me right square in the chest as I was going down. Bike goes one way, deer goes one way, I go another. You hear, the bike goes sliding and grinding across pavement. You hear your own gear clacking around, hitting the ground. Everything's just happening super fast.
Childers pulls himself up to assess the damage.
By the time I'm up and standing and grabbing the bike, I turn over, look over my shoulder, and the deer's already gone. Took off into the woods, so seemed like it was okay. I was feeling around, make sure, just no real pain, nothing's broken for sure. Then I'm thinking about there's a rider coming behind me, and he's going to be coming around that corner just as fast. And I want to be out of his way so I don't get hurt and he doesn't get hurt. I also know that the race is close still at this point. And then I hop on the bike, which is still running, and brakes and levers all work. So the bike's good enough to get me that last quarter mile, half mile to the finish.
Spectators at the finish line, including Childers' wife Laura Seville, hear the alarming sounds of the crash.
We heard a thud and we heard a bike skid across the road, and there was an audible gasp from everyone that was standing there on the hill. And I didn't look at Braden's mother, I just kind of waited, and then we heard the bike. We weren't sure if it was Braden or not, but then saw him come around the corner and he shot his arm up and kicked out his leg and he yelled. And we're like, oh, there's Braden, he's just having a good time, as usual.
Dazed, Childers crosses the finish line.
I was stunned still. I was still really amped up. Adrenaline's going, full on. So I get there and I'm sitting there just staring off into the distance, and the officials kind of looking at me like I'm crazy, wondering why I'm not giving them my time card.
Hit a deer. What? I hit a deer. Did you really? You okay? Dead on. It's gonna be some awesome video. Came right up over the front. Is he in the middle of the road? Yeah. It was like this way, that way, this way. Yeah, that's a deer hair right there. No, it's good. He's out of the way. Thank you.
Despite losing time in the race, Childers still manages to finish first in his class and second overall for the day. But his biggest win is walking away from something that could have changed his life in the blink of an eye.
Could have been broken bones or worse. Having safety gear is one thing, that doesn't mean you're not going to get seriously injured when you're going that fast. So that's a risk you take when you go racing, but this was a lucky day.
Riding a motorcycle may seem more risky than a day at the mall, but sometimes appearances can be deceiving. December 18th, 2012. A security camera is rolling outside a Shanghai mall when suddenly 33 tons of water burst out of an aquarium, flooding the area, sweeping bystanders off their feet. Shards of the 6-inch thick acrylic glass shoot out onto the street, along with the former inhabitants of the tank. Sharks. The decorative aquarium is part of an exterior wall of the Chinese shopping center. A security camera inside the mall captures a cosmetics counter near the aquarium moments before it shatters. When the tank ruptures, the cosmetics counter comes crashing down. The heavy display collapses on top of a saleswoman below. A crowd rushes to pull the trapped woman from the rubble. 15 people are injured in the accident, and most are treated for minor cuts and bruises. But one male customer suffers a broken leg. 3 lemon sharks and many small fish and turtles are killed. The cause of the sudden rupture? According to a government official, a dip in the outside temperature made the tank's acrylic glass walls brittle, causing them to give way in an abrupt and powerful explosion. Coming up, seeing isn't always believing.
Your brain takes what you see on the surface of the water and makes you imagine a depth of field.
When caught on camera, don't blink, continues. When you watch this, what do you see? A fish about to swim away? You can see every detail, each fin and scale. Look again. It's an astonishing trick of the eye, a masterful approach to painting developed by Japanese artist Ryusuke Fukuhori. For more than a decade, goldfish have been Fukuhori's unlikely muses. He can observe them for hours at a time.
That's how they really get engraved in my mind. On the surface, goldfish are only red and white, but if you look very closely, you can see the rainbow colors inside.
A clear resin acts as his canvas.
First, I pour a thin layer of resin into a container. And then I would paint the pelvic fins and also the fin on the underside. and then I would pour another layer of transparent resin and then wait for 2 days.
The technique requires incredible patience. It can take 2 months to complete even a small design.
After it hardens, I would paint the body. When that hardens, I paint another layer, this time of scales. I would pour transparent resin, wait for 2 days, and I would repeat that process until I'm satisfied, until it becomes three-dimensional. I would keep adding layers.
The result blurs the line between what is real and what is perception. Fukuhori's fish look so true to life, they are frequently mistaken for the real thing.
I have been described as a trick artist, but I don't consider trick art to be my main work. I do definitely utilize illusion. Your brain takes what you see on the surface of the water and makes you think that the object you're seeing has been compressed. My goldfish don't have any thickness. People automatically imagine a depth of field.
Perfecting this intricate illusion takes years of painstaking trial and error.
There would be pieces where I had spent months to make, and just as I put in the last layer, it would get destroyed. For each layer of resin, my heart is contracting little by little, making sure that no air is getting in, sweating while doing this.
Don't blink. These 100 goldfish swimming through rippled water are actually part of Fukuhori's 2011 exhibit called Goldfish Salvation in London's ICN Gallery. Hisami Omori is the curator and director of the exhibit that boasts Fukuhori's largest resin creation, the inside of a wooden pail more than 4 feet in diameter.
It has such power. I really love it. People have never seen anything like this before. It's a skill only possessed by him, a skill created by him. The fact that they appear to be alive inside the wooden pail speaks to his skills, technique, and his thoughts.
I realized if I didn't include an air ventilation, that they would die. So I decided to also include some air in the piece, and error, painted bubbles.
Also caught on camera, Fukuhori wows his gallery audience by creating a massive painting on traditional paper using a very unconventional brush.
When I'm painting a large goldfish, I can see a large goldfish swimming, and it's as if I've caught it with my broom, like it's right here. It's fishing within the surface of the paper, and when I've caught a glimpse of it and caught it, that's when I put my brush to work.
Fukuhori's passion for goldfish and their beauty withstands the test of time. Despite the eye-bending realism of his creations, Fukuhori modestly believes he has not yet achieved perfection.
I realize the goldfish is something incredibly important to us Japanese. It carries many messages. How would I call it? Identity. I want to keep doing this in this style until a beautiful goldfish is born.